The things I didn't say when it mattered. I didn't know silence could become a habit. Not at first. At first, it feels like control, like strength. Later, you realize it's just something you learn to live with. I met her at a time in my life when everything looked stable from the outside. Good job. Predictable routine. Friends who thought I was doing well. I believed them. She didn't. Her name was Claire. She asked questions most people didn't. Not invasive ones. Quiet ones. The kind that made you pause longer than you wanted to. We met through work, technically. Different departments. Different floors. We kept running into each other in the elevator. At first, it was just nods, then jokes about how slow it moved, then silence that felt deliberate. One morning, the elevator stopped between floors. The lights stayed on. No panic. Just the hum of being stuck. She looked at me and smiled. "Well," she said, "I guess we're here for a minute." That minute changed more than it should have. We talked, not about work, about where we grew up, about what we missed, about how strange it feels to realize you're living a life you never actually chose, just accepted. I didn't tell her that part out loud, but I think she heard it anyway. After that, we started getting coffee. Always casual, always unplanned. At least that's what we told ourselves. She listened differently than most people. She didn't rush to respond, didn't interrupt, didn't try to fix anything. That kind of attention is dangerous if you've been avoiding yourself for years. One evening, she asked me a simple question. "Are you happy?" I laughed. That's what people do when they don't want to answer honestly. "I think so," I said. She didn't challenge me, didn't argue. She just nodded. "That's not what happiness sounds like," she said. We didn't talk for a few days after that. Not because of tension, because of awareness. Some questions linger longer than conversations. When we finally saw each other again, it was at a bar near the office. Dim lights, low music, the kind of place where people pretend to unwind. She sat across from me. "So," she said, "did you think about it?" "I did," I admitted. "And I think I've been comfortable, not happy." She smiled softly. "Most people stop there," she said. We didn't define what was happening between us. No labels, no promises, just time. And time, it turns out, can be very intimate. She came over one night after a long day. We didn't plan anything. We ordered takeout, ate on the floor, talked until the city outside went quiet. At some point, she leaned her head against my shoulder. I froze for half a second too long. She noticed. She always noticed. "You don't have to be careful with me," she said. I wanted to tell her why I was careful. I didn't. That became the pattern. Moments where I almost spoke, almost reached, almost let something real surface, and then didn't. She never pushed. That was the problem. Weeks passed, then months. From the outside, it probably looked steady. Inside, it felt like standing on something solid that you knew was cracking, quietly. One night, she asked me something that caught me off guard. "Do you see this going somewhere?" I took too long to answer. Again. "I don't know," I said. That was the honest answer. It was also the most damaging one. She looked away. Not dramatically, not angrily, just tired. "I'm not asking for certainty," she said. "I'm asking for presence." I nodded, but nodding isn't the same as showing up. After that, something shifted. She was still there, but less. Less leaning in, less waiting, less patience for my silence. I told myself she was changing. I didn't consider that she was adjusting. One evening, she didn't come over. No explanation, no excuse, just a text. "I need a little space." Space. The word felt reasonable. It always does, until it stretches too far. I told myself I'd give her time, that I'd say what I needed to say when she came back. I didn't ask myself why I always waited for the right moment. A week passed, then two. I started noticing things, how quiet my apartment was, how often I replayed conversations, how many words I'd swallowed over the months. Then she called. Her voice sounded steady, too steady. "I think we need to talk," she said, and suddenly all the things I'd been avoiding lined up at the door at once. We met at the same bar where she'd asked if I was happy. Same table, different air. She didn't waste time. "I can't keep guessing where I stand," she said. "I can't keep waiting for you to decide if you're in." I looked at her, really looked, and realized something terrifying. I was about to lose her. Not because I didn't care, but because I never learned how to say that I did. "I care about you," I said. The words felt small the moment they left my mouth. She sighed. "I know," she said, "but caring quietly still leaves someone alone." That sentence stayed with me. Still does. She stood up. Not to leave. Not yet. She just needed space to breathe. "I don't need a decision tonight," she said, "but I need honesty. Real honesty, not the safe version." She paused. "Think about what you're actually afraid of." And then she left. I sat there long after, listening to conversations I wasn't part of, watching people say things I never could. That night I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. I wasn't afraid of losing her. I was afraid of being fully seen and still not being enough. And for the first time, I wondered if my silence had already made the choice for me. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was anxious, because I was awake in a way I hadn't been before. I kept replaying her words. "Caring quietly still leaves someone alone." That sentence didn't accuse me. It described me. And descriptions are harder to argue with. The truth was uncomfortable. I'd spent years believing I was protecting myself by holding back. What I was really doing was outsourcing risk, letting other people decide when they'd had enough of my distance. I realized something else too. I wasn't afraid of saying the wrong thing. I was afraid that even if I said everything, it still wouldn't be enough. And then what? The next morning, I walked the city longer than usual. No destination, just movement. I noticed how many people were talking into their phones, explaining, apologizing, laughing too loudly. Everyone seemed to be mid-sentence. I'd been stuck in the pause. Claire didn't text. That felt intentional. She'd given me space. Now it was my responsibility to decide what to do with it. Around noon, I sat on a bench near the river, watched the water move without hesitation. No second guessing, just direction. I asked myself a question I'd avoided for years. What do I actually want, without protecting myself first? The answer came quietly, not dramatically. I wanted to stop running from moments that asked something of me. I wanted to stay, even if staying didn't guarantee anything. I texted her. "Can we talk tonight? Not to fix things, just to be honest." She replied an hour later. "Okay," that was all. We met at my place. No small talk, no pretending. She stood near the door, coat still on. Guarded, but not closed. "I don't want promises," she said immediately. "I don't want words you think you should say." I nodded. "That's fair," I said. I took a breath, a real one. "I've been afraid of being seen," I said. "Not of you, of myself in front of someone who matters." She didn't interrupt. "I learned early that being needed meant being trapped," I continued. "So I became agreeable, present enough, quiet enough." I looked at her, and I didn't realize how lonely that makes the person standing next to you. Her eyes softened, but she didn't step closer. "Not yet." "I care about you," I said again, but this time I didn't rush it. I care in a way that scares me, because it asks me to be consistent, to choose you even when it's uncomfortable. She swallowed. "I didn't need certainty," she said. "I needed to know you were willing to risk something too." "I know," I said. And for the first time, I really did. Silence filled the room. Not awkward, not heavy, honest. "I don't know what happens next," I said. "I can't promise I won't hesitate sometimes." I paused. "But I can promise I won't disappear into silence anymore." She took her coat off. That small gesture felt larger than any declaration. We sat on the couch, not touching, just close enough to feel warmth. I'm not asking you to become someone else, she said. I just need you to stay present when it matters. I can do that, I said. And this time I didn't say it quickly. The weeks that followed weren't dramatic. No grand gestures, no sudden perfection. There were awkward conversations, moments where I caught myself retreating and chose not to. Sometimes staying looked like speaking up. Sometimes it looked like sitting with discomfort without fixing it. Claire noticed, not in praise, in relief. One night, months later, she said something that stayed with me. You feel different, she said. How? I asked. You're here, she replied, even when you're quiet. That was the difference. Silence wasn't the enemy anymore. Avoidance was. We didn't become a perfect story. We became a real one. There were days when fear showed up again, but now it wasn't in control. I learned something important through all of this. Emotional courage doesn't look loud. It looks consistent. It looks like answering questions honestly, even when the answer isn't impressive. It looks like staying in the room when it would be easier to leave. A year later, I caught myself smiling at something small. The way she rested her head against my shoulder. The way we didn't rush moments anymore. I realized then, I hadn't changed who I was. I'd stopped hiding parts of myself out of fear. Silence didn't protect me. It postponed connection. And speaking didn't guarantee love, but it finally gave it a chance. Some people think love is about finding the right words. It's not. It's about choosing not to withhold them. I didn't learn how to love louder. I learned how to stay. End of story.